Hi guys, it's Lucian here, and I'm here talking with Steve Papoutsis from Battlefield Hardline, so good to see you again, Steve. You alright? Okay, Steve, we've got a few questions for you for the guys about Battlefield Hardline, and first up, I think it'd be kidding ourselves if we pretended that there wasn't a bit of a shadow sort of hanging over from Battlefield 4. That release was a little bit bumpy. Do you feel confident that you can overcome that at release, given that you've got a lot of new tools, including like the CTE? How's that going to affect, you know, your release? Do you feel happy with that?
Yeah, I mean, I think you know, the team is obviously focused on trying to deliver a very stable game, because that's important. Players clearly, you know, they pay money for a game, they want to be able to play it, want to have it stable. We're in a great position, given that, you know, we're yet to benefit from all the great fixes that have gone into Battlefield 4. You know, the game's a much more stable game now, and I think there's been great improvements there. And you know, as we showed at the beta, you know, our beta was extremely stable. So I feel very good about the work that the team has done. And I think, you know, we're going to continue to focus on ensuring that the game has a great launch and is very stable. But you know, nothing's ever perfect, so I can't control everything. But you know, I'm confident in what our team has been doing, and the focus has been on quality and stability.
There was the whole deal with Rush and Heist. That's being taken out. Heist is the new Rush. Obviously, we've got other things like Hotwire, and we've got Hostage Mode, those kind of things coming in there. Now, a lot of game modes within FPS have been done to death. There's all of the classic ones. What kind of challenges have you faced in coming up with those new game modes? And do you feel confident that those new game modes are going to be received well, given, you know, that core Battlefield audience? People have perceptions about what they see is, you know, the established game. What challenges have you faced with those game modes?
Well, I think the number one thing for us has always been really looking at our fiction and trying to develop game modes that made sense. So you mentioned Heist, you know, the idea of our Hotwire mode, things that kind of fulfill that fantasy when people think about cops and criminals. And so that's really been our guiding light, so to speak, in terms of the way we've approached the game modes. And I think once people get to play them and experience them, that they'll enjoy them. They're fun. You know, I think the designers have done a great job creating both symmetrical and asymmetrical modes. And you know, we're offering 5 all-new modes for Hardline, and then we're bringing back 2 classic modes, Conquest and Team Deathmatch. So that's 7 total game modes, and I think that's quite a bit, and I think people will enjoy them.
One of the comments that I get quite often is, you know, a lot of people saying some slightly negative things along the lines of, you know, this is just an expensive mod for Battlefield 4. This is, you know, I think that's crap. But what would you say to those detractors? And, you know, how difficult has it been to walk along that knife edge of, you know, something like a game like Battlefield, which is such a well-established franchise with such a lot of sort of hardcore, long-term veteran players, but Hardline is quite a sort of step away. It's kind of like a horizontal step sideways with that game. What would you say to those people, and how would you encourage people to be a little bit more open-minded about the game?
Well, Dave, I mean, it's you know, it's honestly quite challenging, you know, having such an avid community of people commenting on the game. But you know, I think I look at it as a positive, right? When people take the time out of their lives to write a comment on a forum or, you know, send us a message, that's because they're passionate. And passion comes from the same place that love comes from. And so I like to think of those negative comments as passionate and supportive comments that, you know, we as a development team need to be able to react to by showing them that, you know what, our game is fun, it's great, you're going to enjoy it. And you know, a lot of those comments, those can be just random comments from people just seeing a screenshot or not having played the game. And you know, my hope is that through things like our upcoming beta before we launch, and you know, talking to you and showing our various videos and things, people can see all the effort that the team's putting into the game. They can see that we're building this from the ground up. You know, that we're putting in all those original game modes, that we've developed a very rich and robust and unique single-player campaign, and we'll kind of, you know, give the game a chance. And you know, I think one of the challenges has been, honestly, when we announced and released the beta, I think the first-person shooter community isn't really, not everybody understands what a beta is. So I saw a lot of comments from people that, oh, the game's just 2 game modes and 1 map, that's, you know, what a bunch of rubbish. It's like, but that's not what the game is. It's much bigger than that. And you know, the beta was a beta. It was intended to find out if we could put out something stable and get feedback from you guys and find out what the community likes and doesn't like. And that's what the purpose of that has been. And you know, in the months to come leading up to launch, we're going to keep showing more stuff, more single player, let people play the game much more. And I think once they get a chance to play it, they'll enjoy it. So, you know, I appreciate the passion and energy people put into the franchise, and it's part of what makes us so excited about working on it. To know that there are so many avid Battlefield fans is thrilling, because as game developers, we want to release games that lots of people love and enjoy and have fun with. So, you know, that's just part of what we're doing. And, you know, again, I'm just looking forward to those people playing it and seeing what a great game we're trying to put together.
As a game player myself and my YouTube audience, I tend to focus a lot on, you know, playing the objective, less of the kind of crazy sort of Battlefield moments, which was very much kind of the early focus for Battlefield 4. How mindful have you been about helping to encourage players to play the objective, and are you going to push that through assignments and Battlelog promotions, particularly sort of, you know, maybe have like a weekend where you say, okay, it's all about squad play, this is the reward. Are you guys going to be looking to push that forward? And I guess that goes again hand in hand with the CTE. They're doing their team play and objective section right now, which I have been involved with. They're looking at making some scoreboard tweaks, and for example, with Battlefield 4 there was the potential they maybe remove the KD from the end of the scoreboard so people become more objective focused. Have you considered that? And again, I know you sort of delayed the game a little bit to work on some things. Is this something that you're all kind of aware of and thinking about?
Well, one of the things that really makes Battlefield so unique and awesome is the team play element. I mean, that's one of the main pillars of the whole franchise, is supporting team play. And I think with Hardline, we're definitely embracing that. But at the same time, we don't want to get rid of KD, because to some people, that's what they play for. They like that, and obviously it makes a lot of sense in team deathmatch. I think, you know, Thad and the design team, that's one of the challenges that they have in front of them, is balancing that and making sure that those people that enjoy playing the objectives and enjoy playing as a squad are rewarded, and that the people that don't can still have fun and feel rewarded. So I think that's kind of just a balancing act. And as you mentioned, something like the CTE is a great opportunity for people to interact with the community, find out what they like, what they don't like, try new things. And, you know, we're paying attention, and honestly, you know, if there's good things coming out of what they're doing right now with the BF4 stuff, we'd be more than happy to incorporate that as well. But I think for our game right now, we're just focused on making sure that everybody that plays can have a great time. And, you know, there's nothing worse than trying to be a coordinated team and having somebody wreck it for you by just being a lame-o. But at the same time, part of games is letting people do what they want. So I think it's a balancing act.
Yeah, I think that's a good answer. And I think the trouble and the positive with Battlefield is that it tries to cover everything, and we can't pretend that that's not basically a very, very difficult thing. And I think, again, that's got to be a massive challenge for you guys. You ended up delaying the game a bit now to make some changes. How far-reaching are those going to be to the final release? Can you give us any details? What elements, even if it's vaguely, you wanted to improve and work on there? That's why the delay came in.
Sure. So, you know, as I mentioned, the beta, our goal with the beta was to get feedback from the community. You know, this is our first time making a full Battlefield game, and we knew that we were going to make some mistakes or do things that maybe some people didn't like. And then honestly, some things that we didn't even think about the community mentioned. You know, a couple examples of things that we're changing based on community feedback is that notion of asymmetrical weapons, right? So, you know, having faction-specific weapons. That was something the community talked about. That's something we've implemented. Also, some of the other things, you know, we're playing around with bullet flinch and things of that nature. You know, there's really just too many things to comment on, but there's small tweaks and there's big tweaks. Also on the single-player side, really leaning into our fiction more and developing mechanics that really fit the fiction. So, you know, at Gamescom we showed our freeze mechanic, where you could hold up your badge and try to cover the guys and take them down non-lethally. That was something that we, you know, had the time to add post the delay. Also, we've got this idea of cop styles that you'll have in single player that will hopefully promote people to play the game multiple times, because it'll allow you to have choices like whether you want to be tactical or strategic or precision when you're playing the game, almost a light RPG element that goes across the game. So things like that are part of what we've been able to add.
Okay, I've got one last question now, and this is kind of maybe not such an objective and mechanic question, but I think a lot of people are interested in the Spectator mode. And the Spectator mode is a fantastic tool for being able to record different things. There's a lot of producers out there that want to do machinimas, or they just want to create, they really want to focus on the art and the style of the game, and there's a lot of producers that really prominently use those features. Have you taken that forward, and are you adding anything to the Spectator mode within Battlefield Hardline, and I guess how important is it an element for you? I know at the start of Battlefield 4 there's a lot of talk about Battle Recorder, and again I don't know whether I expect to see that at all, but with the Spectator mode, how are you looking to sort of take that on with Hardline?
Well, I think the biggest thing that I've been interested in us doing with Spectator mode is making sure that people don't have to be on a team to use it, right? So right now you have to be on one of the teams that takes up a team slot. So for us, that's something we'd really like to get in for ship, so that you could have 2 slots for people that maybe want to just share it on their PlayStation 4 and just use it that way. And I know that doesn't sound like a giant change, but there's work there that we need to do. So that's what we're focused on initially for that. And the idea of Battle Recorder has been around for a really long time. That's not currently planned for release, but that's something that I can see maybe down the road potentially coming into the mix, because I think a lot of people want that. But we'll want to start with addressing one of the biggest omissions, which is the ability for non-participants to actually spectate.
That would be really good. All right, Steve Papoutsis, thank you very much indeed.
You bet, thanks.
Into the jungle.